Welcome to our deep dive, exploring the fascinating world where music and mental health intersect. We're going to unpack some really cool research and find out how music impacts our minds and well-being. And get this, music's not just about feeling good. It actually has the power to change brain chemistry, tap into those deep memories, and even helps us connect with others on a fundamental level. Pretty amazing, right?
It is. There's a reason why music has been a constant throughout human history, across all cultures, really.
For sure. So let's jump right in. I know we've all felt that instant mood lift from a song we love, but what's really happening in our brains when we listen to music that we enjoy?
Well, music triggers the release of dopamine, the neurotransmitter for pleasure and reward. But it's not just a simple dopamine rush. What's interesting is how music activates those reward pathways differently than other pleasurable activities.
Oh, how so?
Well, it's thought that the way music kind of unfolds over time with its patterns, melodies, and rhythms, it creates this sense of anticipation and surprise. Our brains love predicting patterns, and when a song takes an unexpected turn or resolves in a satisfying way, bam, dopamine surge. And this is even stronger when the music has an emotional connection for us, like a song tied to a happy memory.
So it's not just the sound itself, it's the anticipation, the emotional connection,
Yeah.
the way it plays with our expectations that makes it so rewarding.
Exactly, and we're just scratching the surface here. Music also has an impact on our nervous system. Think about how calming music can help you relax. After a stressful day,
Right.
that's because it actually lowers your cortisol levels, the stress hormone.
Makes total sense. Explains why chill hop playlists are so popular for focus and relaxation. So we've got the dopamine rush for pleasure and the calming effect on the nervous system. But how does all of this translate into actual therapeutic applications?
Well, music therapy is a growing field, and it's showing some pretty promising results. Therapists are using music to help people process trauma, manage anxiety and depression, and even enhance cognitive function in conditions like dementia.
I've heard a bit about music therapy, but I'd love to know more about the specific techniques they use. You mentioned something called the ISO principle in our TREP. What is that exactly?
The ISO principle, it's really fascinating. Imagine a therapist working with someone who's dealing with anxiety. They might start by playing music that mirrors the person's anxious state, something with a fast tempo, maybe some dissonant harmonies.
So matching the music to the feeling, that seems counterintuitive. Wouldn't that just make the anxiety worse?
It might seem that way, but the idea is to meet the person where they are emotionally, validate their experience, and create a sense of understanding. Then gradually, the therapist introduces music with slightly calmer qualities, maybe a slower tempo, more consonant harmonies, gently guiding the person towards a more relaxed state.
That's really interesting, using music as a bridge to help someone shift their emotional state. It's not just listening to whatever you like. It's a very deliberate and targeted approach.
Exactly, and this isn't limited to clinical settings either. Think about how you might put on a more upbeat playlist when you're feeling down. We all do a kind of self-directed music therapy without even realizing it.
That's so true. I definitely have my go-to songs for different moods, which makes me think about the whole music and memory connection. We've all had that experience where a song instantly takes us back in time, complete with all those emotions we felt back then. What's the science behind that powerful connection?
It's all about a part of the brain called the hippocampus, heavily involved in memory formation. The hippocampus is really engaged when we listen to music, especially music that holds personal significance. Those specific songs get linked to specific memories, almost like sonic bookmarks in our brains.
So when we hear that song again, it's like hitting play on a vivid memory.
That's a great way to put it. It's like music has this direct line to our emotional memory banks. And this connection isn't limited to just happy nostalgia. Listening to sad music can actually be beneficial too.
How so? Wouldn't that just make us feel worse?
Not necessarily. There's this concept called catharsis. It's the idea that listening to melancholic music allows us to process and release difficult emotions safely, a way to acknowledge and work through those feelings in a healthy way.
So belting out a breakup ballad can actually be therapeutic.
In a way, yes, it's a safe and controlled environment to experience and express those emotions. And for some people, it can be incredibly cathartic. But beyond our individual experiences, music also plays a powerful role in shaping cultural identity.
That's a great point. It seems like music is so much more than just sounds. It's a way to connect with our cultural heritage, our personal histories,
Yeah.
even our own emotions.
Absolutely. And we're just getting started. There's so much more to explore about the incredible impact music has on our lives.
I am ready to dive deeper.
Welcome back to our deep dive into music and mental health.
Last time we talked about how music can trigger dopamine release, reduce stress, and even tap into our deepest memories. I'm still really fascinated by that idea that music can actually mirror and shift our emotional states. Makes me wonder, how is this power harnessed in the field of music therapy?
Well, music therapists use a range of techniques. The approach really depends on the individual's needs and goals. But let's dig a little deeper into one application, using music therapy to help someone process trauma.
That sounds incredibly powerful, yet delicate. How does music actually help someone work through something so difficult?
It can be incredibly effective, but it's a nuanced process. Let's imagine a therapist working with a war veteran struggling with PTSD. Traditional talk therapy might be challenging. Words can sometimes feel inadequate to express the complexity of the trauma.
Yeah, I can see how that would be a barrier. So where does music come in?
Music offers an alternative way to access and process those really deeply embedded emotions. The therapist might encourage the veteran to listen to music that reflects the rawness of their experience, perhaps something intense and dissonant, which can help them feel heard and understood, validating the intensity of their emotions.
So it's not about trying to immediately make them feel better. It's about acknowledging the reality of their experience.
Exactly. From there, the therapist might introduce songwriting or lyric analysis, giving the veteran a creative outlet to express their experiences, even without directly talking about them, can be profoundly therapeutic.
It seems like music provides that safe space to explore and process those painful memories.
That's a key element. Finding a way to express the inexpressible, music can bypass the conscious mind and tap into those deeper emotional centers.
So music becomes a language of its own, a way to communicate what words sometimes just can't. What about other mental health challenges, like depression? How's music used in that context?
With depression, music therapy can be used to counteract the feelings of isolation and hopelessness that often accompany the condition. Group drumming circles, for example, are incredibly powerful.
Yeah, I can see how that rhythmic energy of drumming can be really uplifting.
It's more than just that. The synchronized rhythm creates a sense of connection and shared purpose. Participants literally sync up their movements, their breath, their energy. It promotes a feeling of belonging and can be a powerful antidote to that social withdrawal, which is common with depression.
Sounds like it's tapping into that primal human need for connection and belonging.
Exactly. And it can also provide a sense of accomplishment. Learning new drumming patterns and contributing to a group performance can boost self-esteem and confidence, which are often depleted in people dealing with depression.
We've talked about trauma, depression, and earlier you mentioned dementia. How does music benefit people experiencing cognitive decline?
Music has this remarkable ability to circumvent cognitive impairment and tap directly into a person's emotional memory. Even when someone with dementia struggles to remember recent events or recognize loved ones, familiar songs from their past can evoke vivid memories and emotions.
It's like music unlocks a part of their brain that's still intact.
That's a good way to think about it. A therapist might create a personalized playlist filled with songs from the person's youth. Maybe their wedding song, a favorite dance tune, a lullaby their mother sang to them.
I imagine hearing those songs would be like taking a time machine back to a happier time.
It can be incredibly powerful, and it's not just about passive listening either. Encouraging the person to sing along, tap their feet, or even dance can stimulate both cognitive and physical activity.
So it's not just about triggering memories, it's about engaging them in the present moment.
Exactly, and it can even facilitate social interaction. Group music therapy sessions can create a sense of community and shared enjoyment, even for individuals who have withdrawn from social engagement because of their cognitive decline.
It's amazing to think that something as simple as music can have such a profound impact on people facing such diverse challenges. We've talked a lot about the application of music therapy, but what about the science behind it all? What's actually happening in the brain when we engage with music?
Well, we've already discussed how music triggers that release of dopamine, which is key in pleasure and motivation. But it goes far beyond that. Music engages a vast network of brain regions involved in emotion processing, memory, language, even motor control.
So it's like a full brain workout.
It's not just a workout, it's more like a symphony of neural activity. Different aspects of music activate different areas of the brain. For example, the rhythm and tempo stimulate the motor cortex, which is why we tap our feet or dance to music. The emotional content of music activates the limbic system, the emotional center of the brain.
And the hippocampus plays a role in that memory connection we were talking about earlier.
Precisely. The hippocampus is like the brain's librarian, helping us encode, store, and retrieve memories. And music, particularly music with personal significance, seems to have a special relationship with the hippocampus.
It's fascinating to consider that something as seemingly intangible as music can have such a tangible impact on our brain activity. Makes you realize just how powerful music truly is.
Absolutely, and it's something we're only beginning to fully understand. As research continues to uncover the intricate workings of the musical brain, I'm confident we'll discover even more about the profound ways music can enhance our lives.
We've talked about the science of music, its therapeutic applications, and how it connects to our memories and emotions. But I want to shift gears a bit and explore the social and cultural significance of music. We touched on this earlier, but I feel like it deserves a deeper dive.
Music has been an integral part of human culture for as long as we've been around. From ancient rituals and tribal ceremonies to modern-day concerts and global music festivals, it's a universal language that transcends cultural boundaries.
It's like the original social media, bringing people together long before we had the internet to connect us.
Exactly. Music has always been a way for humans to express themselves, share stories, celebrate milestones, and grieve losses. It's woven into the fabric of our social lives.
Think about how music is used in religious ceremonies, sporting events, political rallies. It has this power to unite people, inspire action, and create a sense of collective identity.
And it's not just about large-scale events. Music plays a vital role in our personal relationships as well. We share our favorite songs with friends, we dance at weddings, we sing lullabies to our children. Music strengthens bonds and creates shared experiences.
I love that idea, music as a soundtrack for our relationships.
It's a beautiful way to think about it, and it's not just about the shared experience in the moment. Music also helps us connect with our cultural heritage. Think about traditional music genres like Irish folk music or Indian classical music. These styles have been passed down through generations, carrying with them the stories, values, and history of their respective cultures.
It's like music is a thread that connects us to our past, our present, and our future.
It's a powerful force, that's for sure. It's something that we often take for granted. We turn on the radio, we stream our playlists, but we rarely stop to think about the profound impact music has on our lives and the world around us.
This has been an incredible conversation so far. We've gone from the inner workings of the brain to the global reach of music. But before we wrap up this second part, I do have one question. We focus mainly on the positive effects of music, but are there any potential downsides? Can music be used in ways that are harmful or manipulative?
That's an important point to consider. Like any powerful tool, music can be used for good or for ill. We need to be mindful of the messages and emotions that music can convey and use it responsibly.
Can you give us some examples?
Certainly, think about how music is sometimes used in propaganda or to incite violence, or how certain genres of music can be associated with negative behaviors.
Makes sense. It's like any form of communication. It can be used to uplift or to manipulate. Context and intention are key.
Exactly. It's important to be aware of how music is being used and to be critical consumers of the music we choose to listen to.
So in a way, music is a reflection of ourselves, both individually and as a society. It can be a force for good, but it can also amplify our shadows.
That's a profound observation. Music is a mirror to our souls, reflecting our joys, our sorrows, our hopes, and our fears.
This has been such a thought-provoking exploration. We've covered so much ground, from the depths of our brains to the heart of our cultures. I'm feeling incredibly inspired to think about how we can all use music more intentionally to enhance our lives.
I'm glad to hear that. That's a perfect segue into the final part of our deep dive, where we'll explore practical ways to harness the power of music for well-being, creativity, and connection.
I can't wait to hear more. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've been exploring the incredible ways music impacts our minds, bodies, and even our cultures.
Yeah, it's a fascinating field, and the research keeps revealing more and more about the power of music.
Totally. But I think what our listeners want to know now is how can we actually use this information? What are some ways we can harness the power of music in our own lives?
Well, I think first, just being more mindful of your relationship with music can make a big difference. Pay attention to how different types of music make you feel. Do you need an energy boost in the morning? A calming soundscape to unwind after work? A soundtrack for focus while you're studying?
It's like creating a personalized emotional toolkit, choosing the right music for the right moment.
Exactly. And this awareness can extend beyond just listening. Think about using music to set the tone for different activities, like putting on some upbeat music while you're cooking dinner, or using calming nature sounds to help you fall asleep.
I love that, like being the DJ of your own life, curating the soundtrack to enhance each experience. But we can also take a more active role in our musical engagement too, right?
Absolutely. Active music making, whether it's learning an instrument, joining a choir, or even just dancing around your living room, can have profound benefits. It's not just about passive consumption, it's about engaging your mind and body in the creation of music.
I've always wanted to learn to play the piano. Maybe this is the motivation I need to finally sign up for lessons.
You know it's never too late to start. And you don't have to aim for virtuosity. The simple act of learning a new skill and expressing yourself creatively can be incredibly rewarding.
And besides the individual benefits, music can also be a powerful tool for connection.
Absolutely. Sharing music is a fundamental human experience. Think about making playlists for friends, attending concerts together, or even just having a spontaneous sing-along. Those shared musical experiences strengthen bonds and create lasting memories.
I know some of my most cherished memories definitely involve music. Singing along to my favorite bands with friends at festivals, sharing new musical discoveries with my partner, even just dancing in the kitchen with my kids. Music really does have that amazing ability to bring people together.
Yeah, and it goes beyond just social connection. Music can also connect us to something larger than ourselves, to our cultural heritage, to our spiritual beliefs, even to a sense of universal harmony. Think about the role of music in religious ceremonies, cultural celebrations, and even social movements. Music has this power to transcend differences and unite people around shared values and aspirations.
It's incredible to think about the impact music has had on shaping societies throughout history. And even today, music continues to be a force for change and connection all over the world.
A truly universal language. But we can also find profound connection through music in quieter, more introspective ways, sometimes just sitting in silence after listening to a piece of music, letting the sounds resonate within you, can be a deeply moving experience.
It's like giving yourself space to process those emotions and insights the music has evoked. I often find that the most powerful musical experiences are followed by a sense of stillness and reflection.
I agree. It's in those moments of quiet contemplation that the true depth of music's impact can really sink in.
We've talked about a lot of different ways to engage with music, but what about those of us who feel like we're not musically inclined? Can we still benefit from all of this?
Of course, you don't need to be a musician or a music expert to reap the rewards of music. The key is to simply approach music with intention and curiosity. Pay attention to the music you choose, notice how it makes you feel, and use it consciously to enhance your life.
So it's about shifting from passive consumption to mindful engagement.
Exactly, and don't be afraid to explore. Try listening to new genres, attend a concert of a style you've never experienced before, pick up an instrument you've always been curious about. There's a whole world of musical possibilities out there waiting to be discovered.
What a beautiful thought. Music as a lifelong journey of discovery and exploration. As we wrap up our deep dive, I'm feeling incredibly grateful for the gift of music and all the ways it enriches our lives. This has been a truly inspiring conversation.
The pleasure was all mine. May your days be filled with harmony and the joy of music.
And to our listener, thank you for joining us on this exploration of music and mental health. We hope you've discovered some new insights and inspiration to incorporate the power of music into your own life.